Just slightly aside, does a freshened up boardroom help you? Does it fill you with confidence that the club's moving in the right direction?
I think so, yeah, Peter. I think it was obviously something that had to be addressed and positions that had to be filled. Very, very simply from my side, the people that were in place before were a fantastic support to me and to this football club, followed this football club, supported it for many, many years, still do. Seen a few of the guys in Jim and Derek and Douglas at Hampden on Sunday, just supporting the club because it's their team. But obviously with them moving on, there always had to be a fresh start. Fortunately, I had a conversation with Grant, with Greg and with Kirk on Tuesday, I think it was, and yeah, we all seem to be on the same page. We all have a vision to try and move this club forward as best we possibly can. With them coming in, there'll be fresh ideas, there'll be fresh impetus, different personalities, different skill sets in there as well. So yeah, I think it's a really positive thing for the football club, and we look forward to the future off the back here.
How important is it to have a stable board? Because I looked at your results in the exact same period last season. You had 5 defeats, 5 draws, couldn't buy a win, and at that point you start hearing people saying, "Oh, time to sack the manager."
I think you could get 2 defeats, 3 defeats in this league, and people will be calling for the manager's head and calling for there to be a change at football club, because we always feel that the grass is green on the other side. But yeah, I think that probably I would allude to the job that Brian Caldwell's done, taking on from Derek Weir. Derek was fantastic with me as the acting chief executive, really supportive. So that's the kind of day-to-day running of it, if that makes sense. You know, Brian's in here 24/7. We've got a really strong relationship, we've got a really close relationship, we've built that over the last few months. So I think that, yeah, you'll always have that relationship with the board, yeah, you'll always want to have a real good connection with them, but I think fundamentally for me it's always been important, while those positions haven't been filled, that relationship's there, and we've got somebody as good at his job as Brian Caldwell. And then I think just really, Peter, through time you'll start to develop the relationships with the executive board. A little bit different here at times than maybe what I've been used to in the past. You know, you allude to the chairman and maybe somebody like Roy McGregor, who, you know, it's solely his money that he puts into a football club, will always have a big say in the football club, and rightfully so. So I think, again, just for the very start here, it's just for me to adjust to those relationships and how it looks a little bit different from my last spell as a manager. And so far so good with the new guys coming in. I know it's only a couple of days in my conversations with them, but that relationship's been really, really strong in the last 20 months or so.
And with this period coming up, there's a run of games all the way through up until Christmas where you would look at these teams and think this is the type of games that Motherwell might consider that they could win. It could determine how this season starts to go for you.
Yeah, as you know, and I will always sit here in front of you and say I take the next one by full merit. St Johnstone looking completely different. We'll probably get to that in a minute or two, and how they're approaching the game, how they're playing. But you know, we just, my mindset's to try and get to 19 points. That's how I always look at it. You know, we're sitting on 16 at this minute. We've said that it's been a really good start. I think we're possibly four points better off at this than we were at this stage last year. We've obviously been to a cup semi-final, so I always talk about progression and trying to improve from what you've been. I think undoubtedly, statistically, we've done that from last season, looking at that total. And I'm not going to get too carried away at looking what's ahead. I just think if you're playing well and you're picking up results, you really relish the next challenge that comes. And I think just to try and put that into really, really short term, we want to try and go in with as good a feeling as we possibly can into the next international break. It feels like there's been several of them, and quite a break in your cycle over the course of the season. But that really is my focus, to make sure the players are picked up from the weekend, and to make sure that we can go and try and perform as well as we can get into this international break.
And just finally on that, what's the emotion like in the players after such a tough one to take against Rangers?
We're okay. We're absolutely fine. In fact, is what I would say. You understand it. Unbelievable disappointment on Sunday night. That probably carries in a little bit into Monday morning. But our sole focus was to make sure everyone was back at it come Tuesday. And you'll not be surprised that I tell you that it's not as if I'm going round picking boys up off the floor and up off the canvas. They have a real desire to do well and to achieve for this football club, and that's where the disappointment comes, because we wanted to go that next step. We wanted to try and get into the final. We came up short as a group. We came up short. We accept that and we hold our hands up to it. But I think always the motivation is to be moving forward and to try and improve. And I know that's my motivation. We spoke about it as a group after the game. And that's exactly what I've seen over the last couple of days, a group of players that are desperate to get back into league action, and try and just replicate some of the performances and some of the results that they've had already this season. You allude to the next string of games. We've had a history of getting results against the big teams, against the so-called smaller teams in the league, and I think to achieve anything in this league you need to get that spread right, and that group of players believe that whatever game you put in front of them, that they can achieve a result. That's a mindset that we try and drive all the time, and I'm imagining that's going to be the exact focus come Saturday as well.
Stuart, more specifically on Peter's question, how did Lennon handle that responsibility at a stage like that at Hampden, and how has he dealt with the disappointment of not getting through?
Nah, he's absolutely fine. I think the disappointment purely comes from his maturity again, the fact that he wanted to, like the rest of us, go that extra stage, go across that extra hurdle. But I did speak about it, and it's worth mentioning again. I'm so jealous of the young players that we had on the pitch. Again, look at our average age for a cup semi-final against a club like Rangers. Look at Marvin Coletta, look at Ewan Wilson, look at Lennon Miller, as well as guys like Tawanda and numerous others in there that are probably at what you would call the infancy of their career. Aston Oxborough, not got a host of experience really in senior football. I'm jealous of these guys because they obviously have that experience. They have that mindset now of what it takes to go to the National Stadium. We start to piece that together as to what you need to do to get across that next hurdle, as I keep saying. So I'm jealous of these guys in such an early stage of their career that they have experienced that. Of course, we want that to be the feeling of winning the game, but I genuinely do believe that starts to set you an unbelievable stead for what comes next in your career, and those are the types of motivators that you need to keep driving you forward. And as I say, we've got a number of really good stories in amongst that group, and for Lennon at 18 years old to captain the team out at Hampden, to be such a big fixture and trying to get the team there, to be such a big fixture and a good start to the season for us. These are all milestones that 18-year-olds can sit in a stand and talk about what they would like to try and get to and what they would like to try and achieve. But I just simply think that he's kind of living that out just now, and I don't think it will have any bearing or impact in a negative sense for him moving forward at all.
What can that taste of Hampden do, both the young players in your squad and the older players, for the rest of the season?
Yeah, firstly, not to have a hangover. I'll always address that one. That's what I said. Don't have a hangover in that disappointment. But you've got another opportunity to do it as well. As difficult as that might be, this football club under Stephen Robinson managed to do that some 6 years ago. Get to Hampden a few times in the season, so that sits there. But I don't think you'll ever achieve anything unless you're taking care of the domestic action, the league action. So very simply, they have to take the good aspects of it. You have to be motivated by the negative side of it. I said very simply from my point of view that I felt at times that we can handle the ball better, and that's something we have to try and strive towards, to create more opportunities in that game, to be a greater threat. But it's not just about cup football, that's about trying to take that into league action for us as well, and that's something we've picked up on when we come back in on Tuesday, and that's something that continues week upon week, day upon day.
And I have to ask about this one. There was a lot made about Andy Halliday's celebration or non-celebration during the game. What did you make of that whole situation?
For anybody that questions Andy Halliday's commitment, I have to laugh at it, to be honest with you. To make that run inside the box to get an end of that cross, if Andy Halliday didn't care about this football club and didn't take his job serious and wasn't concerned about Motherwell and what Motherwell achieve, then very simply be standing outside the 18-yard box. That's how I look at it. Understand that people will always question celebrations. He's 33-year-old, and he covered 12.5 kilometres in a game of football. Now you go around the country and start speaking to managers, if there's many midfielders that can cover that overall distance. Obviously there's other specific elements within that, but he covered 12.5 kilometres. So if you think he's not committed to get to that number at 33, then again I have to laugh at that. And the last point probably on it as well is we had a situation here some weeks ago in the quarter-final where Louis Moult scored one of the best goals of the season, to my mind. Absolute piece of brilliance against his equalising goal. And from what I'm led to believe, and again this doesn't come from me because I don't look at social media, but from people within this building, there was a lot of respect shown for his reaction because he appreciated the club that he'd done so well for. So I start to become a wee bit perplexed as to why that narrative then starts to change. Andy served Rangers very, very well documented that he's been a Rangers supporter growing up and all the rest of it. He's fully committed to this football club. I think all he was doing was a little bit of respect towards Rangers. Would I have acted different? Would you have acted different? Potentially. We don't know until we're in that position, but I certainly don't question his commitment towards this football club. I haven't for 1 second since he's been here, and I certainly didn't when he was trying to go on the end of that cross.
Sure, moving on to Saturday, is St Johnstone at home a good game to bounce back from the semi-final?
I think any game of football is an opportunity to bounce back, not specifically St Johnstone. I've watched them a couple of times since Simo came in to take charge. I think they've completely changed. Totally different type of football from what we've been used to. That presents its own challenges, but I can genuinely tell you that we're just desperate to get back out and play a game of football. You want to put that disappointment behind you as quick as you possibly can. That's not specific to St Johnstone or any other team in this league. The fact that we've got a game at 3 o'clock on Saturday just presents an opportunity, but we have to try and deliver on that. You know, for us to just turn up and think that we're going to go over the disappointment in a semi-final is not going to be a thing. It's going to have to be our best version. I know that for a fact, because they probably could make a case for picking up more points in the games that he's been in charge. So we know it's going to be a real difficult task, but one that I'm really hopeful that the players approach the way they have almost everything to this point in the season.
Had 8,000 fans at Hampden, more than that. In fact, it's good to be at home, isn't it, in front of your own fans?
Yeah, and you always hope that you bring a few more in off the back of those types of events and those types of days. But again, it's probably a good opportunity for me to show my appreciation to the support that came along on Sunday. I thought they were unbelievable. They were outnumbered, but I don't think they were necessarily outgunned in terms of their approach to the game and their support that was there. So you always hope that grows your home support just that little bit. But they gave us absolutely everything that they had on the day to try and drive us across the line. So always my appreciation towards that, and hopefully we get something similar here again on Saturday.
And how's the squad? Is there an update on Stephen O'Donnell?
Yeah, well, listen, very simply, he's going to be out for a period of time. To put the exact date on that, but what I would give you at this stage is that we're aiming to try and get him back sometime in December. So I think we know categorically then that means he'll be out for at least another 4 weeks and potentially into December.
Can I ask you how important it is for you as a manager to maybe take aside Lennon Miller from time to time and try and keep him on track? Because at 18, right through to the summer, it will be relentless. Newspapers, people linking him with other clubs.
Yeah, I think it is really important. I think I always believe in this man management element of it. You know, there's some boys that don't want to sit in front of the manager one-to-one. They're a bit uncomfortable, and sometimes you need to respect that. There are guys like Lennon, and I know we all keep waxing lyrical about him every single day, but there are times where you almost go to have a conversation, but he's already had the right action, he's already made the right decision before you actually get to it. So sometimes not saying anything is the best approach. But undoubtedly, Peter, I think just with the set of circumstances in the last week or so, in particular, captaincy, semi-finals, all that type of thing, it's been important just to keep chipping away at him, just to make sure he's okay, just to make sure that he's in a comfortable place. But he's just approached it like someone that's played 500-600 games, but I don't take that for granted as well, because obviously by the performances and the achievements, speculation starts to grow. But again, I'll stress that not one stage have I seen that affect him in any way, shape or form in training, let alone in a game situation. So he's got a good support network, as we keep saying, off the pitch as well as on it, and we'll try to just keep moving that way. I don't think it's on for us to start to find something that's not there, but just to be aware that still he's 18 years old and still he's got a bit of pressure on his shoulders. Of course he does with the narrative that's created with him, but he's handling it great just now, and we'll continue to support him as best we possibly can, as I say, on and off the pitch.
Was Stephen going to be out for sort of the next 4 weeks? Marvin Coletta came into the team over the last week. he's obviously sat behind Stephen sort of since he came into the football club, but what has he done sort of in the period between coming in and then coming into the team against Celtic last week to really step up to levels where he looks like he belongs at this level?
That's a good question. I've never been so sure of someone being a good player, you know, trying to bring him to the club, seeing the skill set that he's got, seeing the attributes that he's got. His levels in training were building up. So much of it was down to sort of match fitness, and you'll see even recently that there's been a couple of games where he's come off with a bit of fatigue and stuff like that. We're aware that that's been a thing. We believe that we're starting to kind of get over that hurdle, so we feel as if we've built him up to a stage. But then obviously starting games and trying to play 90 minutes is at this level in your first senior starts is a different thing. But I'm so sure that he'll cross that hurdle very, very quickly. I was especially pleased with his performance on Sunday. I thought he was excellent. I thought he was really, really good. And it was probably with a wee bit of trepidation because it's his third start in 7 days at that level. But yeah, I thought he came up. I thought he come up trumps for us in terms of his performance, and I'm fairly certain he'll just go from strength to strength. But to answer your question again, it's probably just down to that match fitness and trying to get across that line of fatigue which you get sometimes when you're a young player and you've not been used to playing 90 minutes. But we can see day by day that he's starting to get stronger and get better in that aspect.